Hey, how you guys doing? It's the producer from Brothers Comics. Welcome to the Who Dey Over 40 podcast for long time, long suffering Cincinnati Bengals fans. Who Dey, everybody. The Bengals moved to 8-6 today with a 15-10 win over the Denver Broncos. Much more of a struggle than it could have, should have, and needed to be. But we'll get to that momentarily. On the line tonight, it's 2 yards in a cloud of dust. It's Big Hutch. What's happening, man?
Hey, what's up? What's up?
Yeah, y'all haven't seen us in a couple of weeks because the Bengals decided to. Uh, Hutch, honestly, I will say that they were literally trying to kill us, um,
There you go.
physically and possibly emotionally for sure, possibly physically as well. With these two losses prior to this week's game, the Bengals lose two home games in a row. Last week losing to San Francisco in a game that they easily could have, should have won, and we're in the process of winning, but a late turnover or a late
Drop
turnover.
punt.
It's just some turnovers here and there. Darius Phillips decided that he didn't want to play football anymore, whatever the hell, and the
Bruh.
Bengals lose that game. And then 2 weeks before that, a game where they looked like absolute horse shit for the first half against the Chargers, and then come back and really are in a position to take the lead in the game. And then Joe Mixon, who never really fumbles and didn't really fumble in that instance either, didn't really have the ball, a scoop and score, and then they lose that game. Just 2 weeks of absolute awfulness, huh?
Yeah, and the playoffs started. These are playoff games.
Mm,
And to lose to both Bosa's back to back.
mm.
We had everything in front of us. You got
Yeah,
and you figured out ways to lose both of them
two
as a
home
team.
games, two home games, two West Coast teams coming east, which are notoriously, not advantageous to the team traveling east. And and we'll talk about this when we get into the game today. Just offensively, the Bengals come out so GD slow and just cannot get anything started and wind up putting the games on the back of Joe Burrow, which is fine, but they just come out and either they handcuff him or the play calling, just something to start of first half. It's really been all season, but the starts of first half has just been damn awful, huh?
Yeah, you them first. The really good teams and whatnot. Their coaches have the first 15 plays scripted, and those plays should fucking work.
Right.
That should get you down the field and get you seven,
Right.
not fucking three.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's been a theme all season long, slow starts, but then second half, kick it into gear.
Adjustments.
Yeah, well, and we'll talk about that again today here as well. It's just been something that these last 2 weeks, I'm just like, I cannot physically, I can't emotionally deal with this crap anymore. Put cards out on the table. Post Kaepernick, I was pretty much good with the NFL. Like I was like, oh, you know what? Fuck it, I'm good. I'm done. I don't need to watch this shit anymore. Anyway, it wasn't, beneficial to my,
Hell,
well, yeah. And then my son got into it, so I got started getting back into this. We started talking about it in podcasts. And shouts out Sandman, by the way. Love you, brother. We miss you. And all right, we get back into it. And then the Bengals messed around, got Joe Burrow and tried to be good again. I was like, hey, man, I'm trying to get back into this. And then just when you think that you're out, they pull you right back in, Hutch, right back down to the, hey, you know what? I know you think you're good and whatnot, but here, we need to drag you back through the dirt just to make sure you know.
yeah, yeah. This team is a widowmaker, yo.
Yeah.
It's a it is right. If you yeah, it is. This team will hurt you. Can
Yeah.
hurt you. It has hurt me several
Right.
times.
Yeah, it was just too much. So I was like, you called right after the San Francisco loss on the phone, man. I put that shit on mute. I was like, I can't deal with this right now. I'm not emotionally stable enough to handle this right now. I was gonna come out and it's just gonna be a bunch of swear words. There's already swear words on this thing when they win. I can't even imagine how many swear words it would have been, not safe for kids, YouTube. So yeah, I just couldn't. And so today I had told my son, I was like, you know what? We need to change our mojo, our feng shui, and get out of this house from watching these games. Like we gotta get out. Just can't sit here, watch the game, disturb the wife and kids and all of that with all the yelling, the screaming, and the clapping. I was like, we're gonna go. We're gonna get out. We're gonna go. Yeah, we're like, you know what? We're gonna go. So we wound up going to like the local. Have you been to Top Golf, Hutch? I know they're a big thing in Georgia, but have you been to one? I've never been to a Top Golf. I've been to reasonable.
I've never been to a Top Golf either.
Okay, yeah, I've been to the reasonable facsimiles, and we have one that's a solid 45 minutes away from us, and we've been before. And I was like, you know what, we're gonna go up there. Me and my, Goat Killer. If you can see him on the logo behind me there, me and Goat Killer one. We're gonna go to uh, the reasonable facsimile of Top Golf that we have here. Go drive some balls. I'll drink some beers, and watch the game on the Sunday ticket. And so we get up there today. So this is where we'll start the show or whatever. Hutch, what were you thinking about today's game? We're thinking they're going to go, lose 3 in a row, which they haven't done all season. Or was this a get right game? What were you thinking?
Everything was on the table, man. This is we had to win it. Hell, Denver had to win it. Mm-hmm. It's at their place. Right. If I remember all the Bengal games in fucking Denver, they're all bad.
All bad. Yes. Yeah, shouts out to Geno Atkins, who couldn't play in there because of his sickle cell potential. No, we couldn't play games in Denver or whatever. We just had some heartbreaks under Marvin Lewis in Denver. And so me going into this game, I was like, you know what? It's going to be a week of dubs. Like, I just feel it, it was a big dub that, we can't really talk about too much on here right now, but I was like, oh, that's a dub. You know what? We're ready for some dubs. Like, this is going to be a week of dubs. And so we go and let's just start off with the game or whatever. This is one of the most boring games all season, Hutch.
Yeah.
I mean, just boring, ass boring. Like, the Bengals couldn't do anything offensively. And if it's possible, Denver was worse. Worse. They were terrible.
But the difference is that you got, Teddy Bridgewater, average to good quarterback.
Yeah, well, average to below average at this point.
Right. So Denver had been doing their damage by running the ball for the most part.
Right.
And that's the one thing that Bengals are kind of good at on defense.
And I'd also read somewhere that the Denver's running is like they run up the middle. They can't get outside. That their running backs don't have that kind of speed, and that's where we're best at. We can't stretch people out wide, especially with Logan Wilson out. So them trying to run the ball against Reeder and B.J. Hill and Larry Ogunjobi and Josh
Ube Blob.
Yeah, that was just not going to really work there. And then when they were trying to pass, I mean, it was high school-esque almost. I'm trying to pass the ball. I'm like, this is awful. I said to my son at a point, I was like, if the Bengals score 17 points, this shit is over. And it wasn't 17. It was damn 15 points. 15 points and the damn game was over. That's how bad it was. But normally we go through first quarter, second quarter, look at key plays, all that. We're not even going to go there because the game was not worth anything in that regard. The Bengals strike first, they get a field goal. Yay. The Broncos get a field goal to tie it. And then, at the end of the half, the Bengals, Evan McPherson hits the longest field goal in Bengals history, 58 yards. To give them a 6-3 lead. And I mean, again, at that point, that shit almost seemed insurmountable, Hutch. Like 6-3, this game is over.
I was like, well, we're winning.
Yeah.
But that ain't enough.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stats and if you're watching on YouTube, Hutch, you pull it up or whatever. I mean, Jamar Chase had 1 catch for 3 yards. 1 freaking catch.
One.
They couldn't get anything established. Like, they ran the ball a little bit, but not really. They couldn't really pass it. I mean, Burrow only gets sacked 3 times, but he was under duress. Like, it just none of it made. It just was bad, like all
It
around. There
was
was no
like
rhythm.
it's like a
Go ahead.
'70s game with two
Yeah,
good defenses.
yeah. I mean, it was just not good. And so, so the Bengals go up 6-3, then they go up to 9-3. And then in the third quarter, near the end of the third quarter, Teddy Bridgewater scrambles out, and then he to be honest with you, and I'm gonna use a wrestling term. Listen to our other podcast, y'all know how we feel about wrestling. He essentially double goozled himself, Hutch. He went to stretch out to like get the first
Yeah,
down and then fell essentially on his face. He got Midnight Express double goozled, but himself, and knocked himself out. Like, I mean, he when he hit the ground, he was out completely in a very Tyron Woodley situation. Hutch has it pulled up here. You get the curly Q on the on the YouTube.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, I
yeah,
thought my shit was better than that.
yeah,
Uh,
he knocks himself out. And so, Goat Killer is like, well, man, they haven't practiced against Drew Lock all, for this week. I don't know what's going to happen. And I was like, yeah, and you know what? Drew Lock's going to turn it over, but he's also going to, he can stretch the field. He can throw the ball down the field, which is what Teddy Bridgewater can't do, you
right.
know. And, Lock comes in immediately, takes the ball right down the field, and they wind up scoring on a little out pattern. He stopped right at the same spot. Hush.
Well,
Um,
I see.
he scores on a little a wide receiver scores there in front of Trey Waynes, and then boom, it's 10-9. And I'm like, you know what? F this crap. FTC, man. I was like, you know what? Grab your golf clubs and your sticks. I'm out. I'm out. I'm like, I've already spent like, man, $60 at this golf joint hitting golf balls. I'm like, I'm out, man. We got like a 40+ minute drive back to the house. There's like 3 minutes left to go in the third quarter. I am done. I can't take this team no more. I'm tired of this. My blood pressure, my sugar, my cholesterol, every freaking like
Wayne,
every malady that I could possibly have, I'm blaming on the Bengals at this point. And so we drive home. Now my son's in the car next to me. I'm like, turn that damn phone off. I don't want to see a Snapchat, a Facebook, a MySpace. I don't want to see nothing, man. Like, I'm just done. Just don't even bother with that. He's like, they're gonna be all right. They're gonna be all right. And then he has the phone on. Shouts out to Zim Who Dey. He's watching the stream on Zim's Twitter feed, and he's like, well, I can see them going down to score, I can see them going down to score. But he didn't tell me that the Bengals had scored. So right after the Broncos scored, the Bengals used 2 plays, a 12-yard run by Joe Mixon and a 50-some-odd yard pass to Tyler Boyd, who you have been saying, like, man, Tyler Boyd got to be pissed being on this team.
I had been saying that because he went from the number one receiver to shit number three,
Yeah, for
and I
sure.
mean it was quick. Maybe number four actually behind fucking Nixon.
Well, he juked, he dipped, he dived, he dove, he dodgeballed all the way to the end zone. The Bengals, go up 15-10, go for 2. They don't get it. And then that was really the end of the game. Like, nobody else scored. That was it. There was a play there later in the game where the Broncos got the ball. They were driving. Khalid Kareem, which we affectionately call Mia Khalifa on this podcast, strips the ball from Drew Lock, goes rumbling, bumbling, stumbling down the field, and fumbles it back with the review rule that he was down. And then the Bengals just pitch a shutout, near the end, for the rest of the game. Shut them down. They can't really do anything. There's a late, in the deep in the Broncos territory, there was a third and whatever, and there's a deep pass down the middle. And if you didn't think Brandon Stokely, you ain't been a Bengals fan for very long.
Damn.
Like, yeah, exactly. If you didn't think Brandon Stokely, you haven't been a Bengal fan for long. Eli Apple drops a surefire pick, but that's okay. Bengals get out. It's 15-10, ball game, 8-6. And then, 15 minutes later, Harbaugh goes for 2 again and doesn't get it against the Packers. Ravens lose, Bengals win, first place in the division. So from third to first,
And we're the fourth seed now.
We're the fourth seed in the playoffs, and with a huge game with Baltimore coming up. And I'm gonna call y'all right now. Lamar Jackson ain't playing in that game either. His injury is way worse than they're letting on.
Oh, for real? You think so?
Absolutely. If he could have played, you play him this week because you know you need that game if you lose it. Like it's at home. Like you play him in that one. You don't play him in the Bengals game. No, he's hurt. And if he does play, so be it. He obviously ain't going to be 100%. So,
right. I mean, and the Ravens are down on their defenses. Shit too. And their cornerbacks are shit.
Yeah, and he was 100% when they played the first time, and that didn't really help him then either. So
right, but that damn Huntley, wherever fucking their backup quarterback was doing all right against the Packers. They scored more than we did. But whatever.
Yeah. So at this point, if the playoffs ended today, we get a rematch against the Chargers, right? Is that
no? It's the Colts.
Oh, it's 4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Get Logan Wilson back, please. To be stopping all them runnings.
Yeah, because they're running people to death.
Yeah. So I
mean, but that's our strength, our on defense anyway.
Right. Yeah, so I mean that's where it is. We're 8-6. Joe Burrow said at the end of the press conference today, it doesn't mean anything winning this game today. Like I think he understands that and knows, and I also think that they understand and know. Like, hey, we were lucky as hell to get out of here. There are no easy wins. There are no asterisk wins or whatever. You were able to get out. You were able to get to 8-6. You got another home game. You don't want a 3-game home losing streak by losing to the freaking Ravens. So get your shit together and get out there and, really to almost put the division on ice, especially if Cleveland loses tomorrow night.
But hey, wait a minute. We also got to worry about these other F-nuts too.
Which F-nuts? Yeah, but they're you're 2 down. They can't win a division because they're 2 games down. So that's
right. But
they can sneak into the wild card.
Them motherfuckers are sneaky.
Yeah. Yeah, they can sneak into the wild card, but they can't win a division. So, I would prefer to not play them and I have to beat them 3 times to get to, through the playoffs. Yes, if that's what you're telling me. Yes, I would prefer that.
They get the Chiefs before we do.
Yes, that's good.
And they play at the Chiefs. I didn't think they were going to beat the Titans, though. I thought they would.
And they shouldn't have won today either.
They shouldn't have, but, whoa. They figure out, they find a way. And actually, we're gonna need their help 2 weeks later.
Yeah, when they play the Ravens.
And the Browns. They got to play the Browns again, too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, look, win with the games that are in front of you. The Chiefs game.
We control our own destiny.
Right. The Chiefs game might not wind up meaning anything. It's just other than, hey, we need to prove that we can play against all if we have to play them again. And the Browns game might not mean anything either by that point, too. It's going to be something. But
we're right. So now we got 3 games left. Tomorrow at 5:00, that's going to be must-see TV.
Correct. Yes. And honestly, yes, the Raiders could essentially almost eliminate the Browns from this whole thing because a 500 record at this point is not going to help you at all. This is why it's so important for the Bengals to get 2 games. So 2 games up to get to 8-6. So,
but the Bengals only get in the playoffs if they win the division. I don't see them getting in through the wild card.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of tiebreakers.
Nope, they sure don't.
Agreed. So yeah, good job today. Y'all won. Yay. Give yourselves a somewhat of a pat on the back, but definitely put yourselves in a position where now every game is a must win, where you had some cushion there when you were at 5-2 and, I was talking to our friend, Mr. Will, and he was saying, which we've been saying on here too, they don't handle success well at all. Like I think it's a young team and they just don't handle success well, and we've gone through this now twice, 2 times, the first time after they beat the Ravens, or not the first time they beat the Ravens, after they won that first game, and then they went there and laid an egg against Chicago. And then after they beat the Ravens and they laid 2 weeks of eggs, there. And now again, after they beat, the Steelers, 2 more weeks of eggs, 3 times where they just, everybody starts blowing them up and they're like, yeah. And they don't have no success very well at all. But
Right. So yes, I mean, but tomorrow's game, basically tomorrow, the day after Christmas.
yep,
That's the best gift they can give us.
yep, that's it. Yeah, win that game, get the 9 wins. You are in a position to win the division and host a playoff game against somebody.
Whoever, somebody,
Somebody.
anybody. You 15 weeks ago, well, I think I picked them to go 8-9. I think.
I don't know about that, sir.
What I picked them to go for 7-10. On this podcast, I gave them like 8-9 or 7-10. Now on the fucking, I bet 6.5. But whatever, I'll
run it back. We'll have to run
that.
it back.
Bring that shit to me, because for a while now I'm like, I got these motherfuckers winning like 9 or 10 games. I'm like, that can't happen. So I think I got 8-9 or 7-10. One of those.
I think I had them at 10-7. So, and I think Sandman did as well. So I'm still in the hunt here, but it's going to be much closer than it should be because they gave away some quite winnable games. And again, even, God forbid, I'd rather win a division and host a playoff game. I don't think anybody wants to see Cincinnati come to town to play them because, one, defense travels and they have a decent defense for the most part. And two, I mean, offensively, at some point, if they wanted to or if they could get on an offensive roll and just, they could shoot you out the building too. They could, they haven't, but they could. The potential to do it is there. And, barring any turnovers, shocking today, they don't turn the ball over and they win. Shocking. What? I wonder if there's any positive correlation between those two events. But, mush. Anywho, all right. I had exit music, man. Like, I know it's normally you to give this, but I have exit music.
Go for it.
Viva Las Vegas, man.
Viva Las Vegas. Where the heck did that come from?
We need the Raiders to win tomorrow.
Oh, well, sure. Yes, that's all true.
We need the Raiders to win.
Viva. Well, but they play in Cleveland, all right?
It is in Cleveland, yes. Well, I ain't gonna
play. That's nothing a bonus for Cleveland though. But whatever.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, shoot, they went into Dallas on Thanksgiving Day, and again, it shouldn't even have been as close as it was because they controlled that game for the most part. But again, we also ran for 160 yards on them with Joe Mixon, and they got much better running backs than Joe Mixon on the Browns. But who's going to play for the Browns because of COVID? They don't even know who they're going to be able to line up and to be like. Now, go ahead.
I got conspiracy theory.
I do too. We calling bullshit here. Like, the rule was if y'all couldn't play because of that, y'all had to forfeit them games. And now y'all gonna throw a fucking delay a game, a 30-minute snow delay. What the hell kind of bullshit is that?
I think it's a 9-letter word.
Money? No.
Well, no. Progressive.
Okay.
Because right, they putting in big money. Mm-hmm. They need their product. They're betting on them Browns to do something. Yeah. They got plenty of money in the NFL.
Yeah, it's crap, man. I was like, really? Are y'all serious right now? Like, we're putting games back? Because that's not what y'all had said that y'all were going to do. Like, if your people, I mean, again, they're vaccinated or whatever, okay, but obviously they're engaging in whatever behavior, this post-Thanksgiving thing where everybody got together and breathed on each other. Obviously, that was an issue. I thought that was like, hey, you know what? Y'all put that into your own hands. That's on you.
If it was the Bengals, that shit don't get pushing that shit. That shit ain't right. Play that shit out.
Yep. Oh God, you're right. Completely, 100%. So anyway, all right. So no Viva Las Vegas. You don't want that?
Viva Las Vegas works. I was gonna go with No Quarter by Led Zeppelin, but man,
I don't think I know that song. Could you give me a riff?
What's that?
Can you give me a riff? Like, what's this?
You got to ask Brother Beavis.
Oh my goodness. Well, one of them songs, if you're listening to the podcast on any of the podcast streaming outlets, you'll hear one of these songs. Who knows which one it'll be by the time we get to post-production. So yeah, man. Day after Christmas, Bengals at Ravens. Or excuse me, Ravens
The
at
Bengals are 8-6.
yeah.
They got 3 chances to get to 9 wins anyway.
Yeah.
But I would have never expected that. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it's been a process and a progress. Injuries have come up in the latter part here. COVID almost got us today too. You lose Cheeto to COVID today. Logan Wilson a couple of weeks ago, which he's obviously vital to our already thin linebacking core.
Right.
But again, the Bengals, not to say that again, the Broncos bad high school offense. Bengals still went in and did what they did. They gave up 10 points.
Right. How many wins do you think we have in Denver?
Shit, I can't think of any in Denver. I can think of some bad losses in Denver.
Oh, that's right. The bad losses.
I go to 2013 when they were winning handily. When AJ McCarron went in right after Andy Dalton went out with his broken thumb, and a game that they easily could have won and was winning very handily, and then they wound up losing at the end. No, yeah, that's a good win. You don't stub any wins in the NFL. Like you get it, you get out, you get home, get ready for freaking Baltimore. Do not read the newspapers. That's basically it. Don't let anybody tell you you're any good for the next 7 days. Go in there, handle your business.
Don't stop at any of the dispensaries either.
Right? Yeah. Don't.
And bring that shit back to Ohio. It's not legal. Well, I don't think it is.
Well, and again, even if he plays, you better have, don't let him run up and down the field. He obviously is going to be struggling anyway, and he's been struggling all year with sacks and interceptions to begin with. So, you take care of your business. Win your home games. Don't lose 3 in a row at home.
Well, you never can't lose 3 now. I mean, you can't lose this next 3. You got to win all of them, I believe.
Right. So do your thing. Stop looking at the scoreboards too. Today, today, and hopefully if the Browns lose tomorrow, everything worked out for you. You can't be dependent upon that every week. Win your games. That's it. Period. All right. So as Unnamed Song begins to play us out on the podcast version of this, I'm the producer of this podcast. If y'all like the new logo, the Do a Brother Beavis here. If you like the new logo, let us know. Don't look at my head on there. It's pretty big and shiny. Yeah, we'll leave that alone.
Too.
Man, look at I got my gold fronts in Chad style. So, but yeah, for real, we'll see y'all hopefully next week and talk about this. If it's some bullshit.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Ask Santa for a Bengals win. Tell your secret Santa
too.
Yeah, tell your secret Santa. Tell your elf on the shelf. Tell
write a letter to Big Daddy Brown.
Yeah, something, man. Just whatever we can get. We just want to get to 9 wins next week on the 26th. Earlier than this at this point, and be able to talk about that and see what happens moving forward, and hopefully get to the point where we're hosting a playoff game against
whoever. But actually, we got to win the next 4. If we get to the playoffs and we're losing the first round, what happens?
It continues the alleged curse and streak. But you at this point,
you got to get there first.
Yeah, you need to hope. Yeah, you got to make the playoffs. You got to get to a point where you don't have a losing record, which you're still 1 win away from. You need to take care of that. So that's where we are. All right, everybody. So we'll see you on the other side. A hearty Who Dey. 8-6 feels better than 7-7. That's for sure.
7-7. We're home for the holiday. We can guarantee.
Yep. We'll see people on the other side. Peace. Who Dey.